Today happens to be the 30th of January 2025. Hello there, good morning to you all and welcome to Wake Up News live on Globe Television. I am Sandra BOAHEN. Coming up, the Minority Caucus in Parliament has strongly condemned Victoria MF Hardcastle for her disparaging remarks against Minority Chief Frank Anodomprey. This morning, Mahama Ayariga has proposed a pension fund scheme for members of parliament aiming to provide financial security after their service. Ghana secures $2.8 billion in debt relief after all 25 members of its official creditor committee fully signed memorandum of understanding. Later on the international front, at least 30 people have been killed in a stampede at the massive Mahakumbh festival in India. Coming up in sports, Black Satellite begins second phase of assessment exercise ahead of AFCON U20 championships. Details of all these stories and many more coming up shortly. To stay with us. We are starting our first details from Parliament. The Minority Caucus in Parliament has strongly condemned the acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Victoria MF Hardcastle, for her disparaging remarks against Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodomprey on January 28. The caucus is pushing for decisive sanctions against Hardcastle, condemning her attempt to undermine the authority of the Minority Chief Whip and her use of unconscionable language against the senior member of Parliament.
Not this silly Listen, you heard the word she used. What called me silly? She called me silly.
Are you a silly child?
No. We will deal with this matter. You called me silly.
I don't have time for
No.
The incident occurred on January 28 when Hardcastle allegedly directed insulting comments at the Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodomprey regarding his parliamentary duties. This blatant display of disrespect towards the legislature prompted a bipartisan unity among parliament members, with Anodomprey raising the issue on the floor.
This morning, we were on our usual duty on the appointment committee. There was some disagreement amongst us. So the respected First Deputy suspended sitting and we engaged. When we came back, minds were not meeting. So we suggested humbly to the First Deputy that we should further take a break. Speaker, I must fully disclose but the nominee who was before us, Honorable Boama, is a long-time friend. So, in the face of the disagreement, I felt I should reach out to my friend and tell him that it's not personal, it's not about him. Only to have a rude shock of my life. And colleagues, we need to take these matters in good stride. We are all MPs. What has happened to me today? A lady I have never met in my life. Only later to be told she's called Victoria MF Hardcastle, who is the acting chief executive officer for the Petroleum Commission. Speaker, I didn't say a word to her. I didn't provoke her in any way. Suddenly, insults were being hurled at me. Silly, stupid, useless. At a point, I thought they were referring to somebody. Why would I be abused to this extent? Why I haven't said anything? I haven't provoked you in any way. So not to belabor the point, I feel my reputation is lowered by these attacks.
The Minority Caucus emphasized that Parliament's commitment to protecting its members' privileges and dignity must not waver, citing the landmark case of K.T. Hammond versus William Ampem-Darko. The caucus is pushing for decisive sanctions against Hardcastle, condemning her attempt to undermine the authority of the Minority Chief Whip and her use of unconscionable language against the senior MP. They outlined specific actions necessary to uphold Parliament's sanctity and deter future misconduct. Meanwhile, Speaker Alban Bagbin assured Parliament that he will advise Hardcastle investigate the matter, take necessary actions and report back to the House.
Away from Parliament, social activist Oliver Barker-Vormawor has apologized to Parliament Appointment Committee for accusing them of demanding bribes from ministerial nominees in exchange for approval. Barker-Vormawor made the apology during his appearance before the committee on Wednesday, January 29, stating that his comments were not intended to disparage the committee's reputation. Here are excerpts for what transpired yesterday.
We made that post but it gave a certain reason and indicate that if that statement appears or seems to have,
Council, with the greatest respect, as we sit here, very respected senior citizens of this country are engaging us. We were initially divided on this matter. Please help your client. It's not a matter of Leonard. We respect you. It's because I'm sure he knows why he chose you. You are a respected council. This issue of if, are you rendering an unqualified apology? If not, let's close this matter. Are you apologizing and are you going to pull it down and all? Let's close this matter because the speaker is of the view that we should manage this thing, and that is why we are managing. But you cannot continue. We give you the chance. 50 years at the bar. This at the bar. No, Mr. Nana, 2000.
I would have protest.
No, you can protest if you want us to have one. No, because I've opened the window for us to solve this matter. This is not an NDC MPP matter. No, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, with the greatest respect, I am. No. We want to solve it. But this is not a matter of 10 years at the bar, 50 years at the bar.
I want to begin by reiterating my utmost respect for the committee and its constitutional role and the job or task it has to vet persons to high office in this country. At no point did I accuse the chair of this committee or members of the NDC for having asked for or to be given money or to submit themselves to oral. The misinformation, as I said, was appeared on a Facebook post under one NPP Projects Bureau. In fact, there's evidence that 4 days ago when the post appeared, I commented on it as being fake. Unfortunately, I must also address the claim that it is a notorious fact that he's a member of the NDC. In fact, I must say that the victory of the NDC, now everybody says they are NDC members. But this is completely untrue. I have not been a member of the NDC in the past. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Manasseh Azure published a book, The President Ghana Never Got. This is where it's in the book.
Please, are you going to render apology? We are not interested in what Manasseh has said in the past. Please.
Mr. Manasseh said, Muntaka never mentioned that the only cash that came to the appointment
Mr.
committee.
Oliver Barker-Vormawor, are you going to do justification or you want to render an apology and we close this meeting?
If the committee resolves that the context of the post is irrelevant to the commission, the question here, I'm happy to proceed as the committee has directed. Now,
proceed as the committee has directed.
Mr. Chair,
I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee, and I have not intended to say that members of this committee have received or demanded bribes from various individuals. And for those reasons,
let's channel our attention in Parliament again, because the majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Ayariga, has proposed a pension fund scheme for members of Parliament aiming to provide financial security after the service. Mahama Ayariga emphasized that this scheme should be funded through carbon credits rather than taxpayer money.
Moving a motion on the floor of Parliament on January 29, the majority leader Mahama Ayariga lamented the state of members of Parliament after leaving the House. He believes that knowing they have a secure financial future will motivate MPs to work efficiently and avoid corruption and serve their constituents' best interest.
Parliamentarians who know they are well catered for when they retire will be difficult to bribe and improperly influence. They can devote their attention to work and put up their best for their constituents and country. They will make Ghana great again. They can more adequately resist pressure from lobbyists and certain interest groups.
Additionally, Mahama Ayariga emphasized that this scheme should be funded through carbon credits rather than taxpayer money.
So on the basis of that, I am proposing to this House for us to design a pension scheme that will cater to the needs of parliamentarians when they decide not to run for office again, or they run but they lose their elections and they are no longer here in this House. We want to establish a scheme, but we don't want the pensions of members of Parliament to become a burden on the taxpayer. And so we are proposing to design an MP's pension scheme that is going to be funded from carbon credits, revenues from carbon credit.
The proposed scheme has garnered attention, with MP Patrick Boama highlighting the need for government support to utilize carbon credits for funding.
He's also proposing that we look at carbon emissions or carbon credit to fund ours. It's a matter of policy for the government to decide whether the government is going to support this policy, because to trade your carbon is a matter of the executive taking that decision.
Following discussions, Parliament has decided to establish a committee.
Residents of Ashaman have come out in strong support for their Member of Parliament, Ernest Nogbe, who has been embroiled in a controversy surrounding allegations made by Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. The allegations stem from a parliamentary sitting on January 24, where Afenyo-Markin the Nogbe urged colleagues to beat the NPP Minority Caucus. A chairman NDC constituency Secretary Alan de Graft Kwanzaa has condemned the accusation as false and defamatory.
According to the residents, the allegations which were made on the floor of Parliament claimed that Nogbe urged his colleagues to beat the NPP Minority Caucus during a heated debate on January 24. However, Ashaman NDC Constituency Secretary Alan de Graft Kwanzaa has vehemently denied the allegations, describing them as false, malicious and defamatory. Kwanzaa argued that the allegations have tarnished the reputation of both Nogbe and the Ashaman constituency, and demanded that Parliament provide Nogbe with a fair hearing to clear his name.
Yes, sir. Said the leadership of Parliament, on my kwan na nsema Afenyo-Markin ekaye edek fa honorable Ernest Nogbe hu ewo time of proceedings ekoso ewo Parliament no obaba no kwan na honorable Ernest Nogbe etimeyi na no se na be Ghana for ebenya hu se nsem na papa na ka fa no no enye nsem no kure eya trosem na oka edek fa no no if you say Abrante we and we di Ashama constituency nim and ene vote dodo a MPP nyaaye in the 2020 election that is 46,000 omunyaaye no in 2000 omunya 45,000 ene yes anko election bi in 2024 no sa vote no ya chemu mienu hu ene ba omunya 22,000 ya branti we honorable Ernest no gbani modern bo enti enakakoba ne sa enti baba ne sen na se wenye obi anase wenye asem anka amfa wonua ho anase se wompe wonua yi a na nya sa kwan we so ena wo se wo wonua fa so enti share in this evening members of parliament yes omo ma honorable Ernest no gbani akonya no ntimi yi na no.
Then DC's Ashama Communications Officer, Joseph Awuku, also weighed in on the matter, calling on the majority caucus to intervene on Nogbe's behalf.
Ashama for bizarre question say, is it true? Young people person or children say, Enyanukre. And as Speaker of the day, Nusu Amanu Kwan say, on Clan who said, the Afenyo Market Kagunu Enyanukre. So the Aya can you say, Tetia, Ye Speaker Ma, Honorable Ernest Nogbe Kwan. Na on clan who obedrim na on ma shama fo hu say sa asem na afenyo market kan no enye nukre enu ne yeka ya ma na akoti Friday ama ye honorable Ernest no be kwan ma wantimi and the clan hu endware ne hu obedrim amfa nkire ne manfo wa shama ye be solidity a onu speaker any.
In other stories, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, has announced the government intention to terminate the contract awarded for the construction of the Palugu Dam. The minister indicated that this during an interview with journalists after a 3-day tour of various ministry departments and agencies. Speaking on what the government intends to do with the project, the Agric Minister Eric Opoku indicated the government intention to terminate that contract immediately.
For 5 years, at a cost around 993 million Ghana cedis, $1 million, almost $1 billion. The project was to solve 3 critical challenges. 1, to provide irrigation facilities for farming. 2, to provide power, hydropower, to augment whatever we have in place to generate power for Ghanaians. And then 3, to help address the challenges from the Barry Dam spillage. The contract was awarded. Ghana government was to pay $56 million under the contract as mobilization to enable the contractor mobilize to site. Almost $12 million was paid, but no work was done, and it's like the contract is in a limbo. What we will do is to terminate that contract immediately. We'll terminate the Palugu contracts, look for a contractor, look for funding, and then immediately ensure the execution of the project. What judgment debt are you talking about? A contract has been awarded. You've not done the work. You are supposed to mobilize to site. You didn't go to site. So what judgment debt are you talking about? Anyway, before we terminate, it will not be done here. We'll refer to the Attorney General's Department for his advice before the contract is terminated. But we are prepared to make sure that the Palugu project is executed. And I can assure you that it is going to be John Mohammed's signature project in the north.
Are you still watching our main news bulletin for this morning? Coming up on the program, Ghana secures $2.8 billion in debt relief after all 25 members of its official creditor committee fully signed memorandum of understanding. We are going for a short break. When we return, we have more stories coming up right after the break this day. 20 African heads of state, including Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama, have committed to expanding access to reliable, affordable and sustainable electricity in their respective countries. The pledge was made at the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit in Tanzania, an initiative aimed at connecting 300 million Africans to electricity over the next 6 years. Upon his return to Ghana, acting spokesperson to the President Felix Kwakye briefed the media, providing details of the president trip.
The president then went to Tanzania, where he had been invited to participate in an energy summit organized by the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Rockefeller Foundation and other organizations. The objective of the summit was to discuss ways of extending access to energy to underserved areas within Africa. And so the heads of states met following an earlier meeting by ministers of energy of various African countries. Each head of state took turns, I beg your pardon, to elaborate briefly on what the commitments to this objective were and what they had done in order to ensure its realization. President Mahama recounted Ghana's experiences and shared the strategies that he in particular adopted to get us out of the perennial energy problems that we've had, and took the opportunity to advise against some missteps or mistakes that have been made in the past. He then reiterated Ghana's commitment to ensuring that many more of our citizens get access to electricity. At the moment, Ghana has electricity access of about 83%, which is one of the highest on the African continent. There were countries at the summit who disclosed that they had between anything from 12 to 19% access to electricity. So it shows that Ghana is streets ahead of many of its contemporaries, but more needs to be done to ensure that many more of our citizens have access to electricity, and that the benefits of having this access to power are accrued for rapid socio-economic development. So this, in a nutshell, is what transpired during the president.
In finance, Ghana has formally secured $2.8 billion in debt relief after all 25 members of its official creditor committee fully signed the Memorandum of Understanding, initially raised in principle under the G20 Common Framework for Debt Treatment. This is expected to provide crucial fiscal breathing space as Ghana advances structural reforms under $83 billion International Monetary Fund program. Finance Minister Dr. Case Latoforsen told the media in Accra on Wednesday, January 29, 2025.
One of the key elements of the debt restructuring was the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding by the Official Creditors Committee for Ghana. The former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mohamed Amin Adam, commenced the process for the signing of the MOU by individual members of the Official Creditors Committee in June 2024. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that following His Excellency the President's directive, we have made significant progress in Ghana's external debt restructuring. On the 17th of January 2025, I, in my capacity as Minister of Finance designate, met with Ghana's advisors and the technical team of the Ministry of Finance. Since then, the Ministry of Finance team have worked tirelessly to advance the President's directive. A significant milestone from the team, and we are pleased to inform all Ghanaians that the Memorandum of Understanding, reached with the Official Creditors Committee last June, has now been fully signed by all 25 participating creditors countries. We are grateful for the Official Creditors Committee's members, their commitment, and particularly the committee's co-chair, China and France, for their support. Ghana is now entering the final stage of the restructuring process. We now have a strong and detailed document, the financial terms through bilateral agreement with the official creditors. We also hope to make further progress with our commercial creditors in the coming weeks to reach a mutual beneficiary solution for the debt treatment. In these discussions, we will be guided by the most favored creditors clause and in the principles of comparability of treatment, offering a precise framing of the terms that creditors may receive. As Minister, I will expedite our engagement in order to complete the remaining 7% of the debt restructuring. We take this opportunity.
Key players in Ghana's freight forwarding, Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Customs Brokers Association of Ghana, Freight Forwarders Association of Ghana, and the Association of Customs House Agents are urging President of Trade and Transport. According to them, Edu Jack's expertise in freight forwarding and finance makes him an ideal candidate to boost the sector's growth.
According to Kwabeno Fosuapia, the former president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Edu Jack's industry experience would help bridge the gap between policy formulation and operational realities. He explains that Edu Jack's understanding of international trade regulations, customs procedures, and shipping logistics could streamline the ministry's operations and drive economic development.
One minister, one designate. I mean, without prejudice, but these are not true and true known people of industry stock, okay? I mean, I don't doubt their ability to come and hit the ground running, but to complement efforts and to make the work a lot more easier for them, okay? Because there are certain nuances on the ground that no matter your exposure, no matter your intellect, you need to know those nuances. It comes with the trade, okay? Yeah, so even if you put the professor of transport or professor of trade, the nuances you know them practically.
Immediate past president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Edward Akron, highlighted Edu's track record of advocacy, particularly his legal challenge against the Ghana Revenue Authority's implementation of the cargo tracking node system. He believes his appointment could significantly improve Ghana's trade and transport sector.
Say, Honorable John Kwame Edu Jack, yen adwuma ayem na nini afa transport enti ye ka twa man yentumi ntitire mampeninsa ze bi wonye ni sei but in the nim dio no betumi dia beboa ama policy and legislation bi on beye fa adwuma ye no e beboa e ma man na iden atumpo adwuma dodo na office adwuma no but se wo ko forma na se wo sabo adwuma no so awo ya broni beka se practical activities on the ground na akona se wo it is a we obi a wo ho de dade ye hihye ho emre bia na se.
On the international front, at least 30 people have been killed in a stampede at the massive Mahakumbh festival in India to stay. At least 30 people were killed and many more injured in a stampede at the world's largest religious gathering early Wednesday, police said, as millions of pilgrims rushed to dip in sacred waters during the Mahakumbh festival in northern India. The stampede happened when pilgrims tried to jump barricades erected for a procession of holy men.
Around 400 million people are expected to attend India's 6-week Mahakumbh Mela festival. Fatalities have occurred already. Dozens were killed in a crush in the early days of the gathering, as tens of millions gathered to take a dip in river waters sacred to Hindus. Here's how authorities in Prayagraj are managing the mammoth crowds at what is set to be the world's largest gathering. A temporary city has sprung up across around 10,000 acres on the riverbanks, the size of 7,500 soccer fields. Within it are 150,000 tents to accommodate visitors and almost an equal number of toilets. About 69,000 LED and solar lights illuminate the paths through the settlement, kept clean by 15,000 sanitation workers. Authorities are using CCTV cameras, drones and tethered drones to monitor the festival area, along with anti-drone craft to find and remove unauthorised drones. They are also using underwater drones that can operate to a depth of 3,330 feet and can function in low-light conditions. To help reunite families separated in the crowd, lost and found centres have been set up, while loudspeakers installed along the riverbanks will make continuous announcements about those separated. Authorities are also using state-of-the-art AI facial recognition technology and CCTV cameras to trace missing people. Temporary police stations and checkpoints in Prayagraj include 3 floating water police stations on the river. Paramilitary troops and bomb disposal squads will also be at the ready. More than 50,000 personnel are on guard to ensure the safety of visitors. Every tent has been fitted with firefighting equipment.
Coming up in sports, Black Satellite began the second phase of assessment exercise ahead of AFCON U20 Championships this day. The Ghana Football Association has announced that the second phase of the assessment exercise for the national male under-20 team, the Black Satellite, will commence on February 2nd, 2025 at the Ghana Football Association Technical Center. 38 players from Premier Division 1 and lower tier sides have been invited to participate in the exercise, which aims to identify talented youngsters to challenge existing team members. Coach Desmond Ofair and his technical team will lead the assessment. The Black Satellite, fresh from their gold medal win at the Africa Games, are preparing for the AFCON Under-20 Championships in Cote d'Ivoire from April 26 to May 18, 2025. The technical team hopes to discover new talent to strengthen the squad and build a competitive team.
That threat, and now they put City in arrears. Savinho, now De Bruyne, just a little extra dynamism. Stones will score, no! Heads it wide. Kovacic just seems a bit more threat than before. Kovacic, great run, Kovacic, great finish. City are back in it. The equaliser within 8 minutes of the second half. Gvardiol, Savinho, Gvardiol, turned into his own net by Adonis. 2 goals in 9 minutes. The Blues have turned it round. Haaland wins it back, chance to finish it, good save. Savinho off the line by Makhala. Brilliant play. Stones. Oh, Savinho! Game over, surely. City are through. Savinho with the goal that might just have secured it. And City will await the draw on Friday.
Arsenal sealed their place in the last 16 with a 2-1 win at Girona. The 17-year-old winger Ethan Nwaneri became the second youngest English goal scorer in the competition after Jude Bellingham when he curled home what turned out to be the winner late in the first half as the Gunners came from a goal down to secure victory in Spain.
Danjuma has scored and Neto came flying off his line. And Danjuma did the rest. Marino, Partey, good first touch. Then goes down. That's a penalty. Referee did not hesitate. Jorginho scores. Very calm, and Arsenal are level. It's 1-1, Jorginho's first of the season. Waneri opening his body up again, then he shoots! What a finish! Ethan Waneri with an absolute beauty.
Yeah, great finish, great finish. Every time he cuts inside onto his left-hand side, on left foot, he's got the opportunity to shoot. Made it look so easy.
Here they come again. Odegaard onto Trossard, being direct. Trossard! Oh, hit the woodwork. The bar's still rattling. Van der Beek plays it down the field. Tortu right across, there's the equaliser.
He's giving it offside, yeah.
Sterling trying to get through. It's a handball appeal.
It's got to be a handball.
It's a penalty. It's a clearer handball, as you will see. It's a good save from Paolo.
And that's it for sports. We take a recap of the top stories. The Minority Caucus in Parliament has strongly condemned Victoria Emir Fahad Castle for her disparaging remarks against Minority Chief Whip Frank Arnold Dompre. And also Mahama Ayariga has proposed a pension fund scheme for members of Parliament aiming to provide financial security after their service. And on the international front, at least 30 people have been killed in a stampede at the massive Mahakumbh festival in India. A sports black satellite begin a second phase of assessment exercise ahead of AFCON Under-20 championships. And that brings us to the end of the bulletin this morning. I am Sandra Edu BOAHEN. Up next is Yese Nose on behalf of the team led by Alex Ohene Eji. We do appreciate your time with us this morning.